Oh, some boys go to college, but we think they're all wussies, 'cause they get all the knowledge, and we get all the... All right, I'll do it. Yes!
Hey, this is Dr. Gonzo, and I'm all dressed up. I just got back from a comedy club. I love entertainment, and I just, we're watching a lot of reruns these days. So if we're going to watch reruns, how about watching something really good? Well, on Gonzo TV, of course, we show vintage Disney, and I happen to be a fan of horror. Not a huge fan, but I loved Joe Bob Briggs back in the day. I discovered him before Chris Gore, and I want to give a shout out to Chris. Chris is on the mend now. He's back live. I've met Chris twice, and I'll tell you what, just a short thing on Film Threat and Chris Gore. I've only met Chris twice. We're not best buddies, but he's always been beautiful and kind to me every time we've gotten together. And at the Vegas meetup when Chris had the stroke, to meet Alan Ing, who's the real deal, Dante, which he's a great guy, and of course Gary Beaker from Nerdrotics and the whole Nerdrotic gang. And shout out to Gary too, for everybody took good care of Chris when they knew something was going on. But Chris is back, so I'm dedicating this weekend to the return of Gore. And I know Chris likes horror movies. I lean more toward Alan's view of horror. I like them, but on a limited basis. Hey, when I was growing up, I watched, the weirdest thing I ever watched was The Incredible Melting Man. And of course, The Exorcist, because that was during my time. I'm 67. I actually understood all the little quips in Unfrosted, which everybody hated, except I think for me. I loved The Omen. I liked all three of them, which is weird because I grew up Catholic. And you have to Google this. Catholics are not amillennial. So Catholics do not believe in a one world Antichrist. Hey, weird stuff going on. Whatever turns you on, go to the movies. I don't monetize. So go to Film Threat, Nerdrotics, all those folks, and buy their merch. Great stuff. Become a member. I'm a member of both Nerdrotics and Film Threat. And big fan of Chris, but before I started watching Chris, I watched Joe Bob Briggs. Now, I got to meet Joe Bob because I did a book on some people I played drums for, the TBN crowd, those money ministers. And Joe Bob had been working with Ole Anthony of the Trinity Foundation, who helped me with my book, Pass the Plate and Let Us Pray, Prey. And I got to meet Joe Bob. Joe Bob was doing a thing called God Stuff as a John Bloom character, and great guy. So what does that have to do with horror? If you watch TBN, that's the true meaning of horror. That's for sure. But this is Joe Bob Briggs and the most of the cast of Night of the Living Dead. Now, I watched Night of the Living Dead. Man, they had a budget of like $111,000, and it was the very first movie that started zombies. That's what started the zombie thing. And I found out a little trivia question. Not a trivia question, but I found out a little tidbit. George Romero kind of took from the book I Am Legend, and there have been movies made on I Am Legend. You know, they ripped off the zombie thing. I think the first one was The Last Man on Earth with Vincent Price. That was he didn't call himself Neville, but it kind of riffed off of that. So the first movie based on the I Am Legend book, actual made on I Am Legend, is Omega Man with Charlton Heston. I saw that when I was in high school. Great movie. And then I Am Legend was remade by Will Smith. I thought that movie was pretty good. It was okay. And then there's been all kind of spin-offs of all sorts, like World War Z with Brad Pitt, which I thought was pretty exciting, and lots of zombie movies. But zombie movies come from Night of the Living Dead, shot in this little farmhouse. And also what was cutting edge for the day, they had a guy named Ben. Let me find the actor's name real quick. Dwayne Jones played Ben. And for 1968, for that era, having a black man as the lead guy, the lead hero, usually only a guy like Sidney Poitier at that time period could pull that off. Of course, times have changed now, and that's good. And, Dwayne did a great job in there. Small cast. So let's get right to Joe Bob Briggs with a lot of the cast of Night of the Living Dead. And you're watching Gonzo TV with Joe Bob Briggs and the cast of Night of the Living Dead and the movie with some commentary. So, hey, enjoy.
What's on TV?
I don't know. Let's see.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
So, hey, Dr. Gonzo's here.
Put a dime in him, you gotta let the whole song play out.
He'd like human jukebox.
Oh, he's a talker, ain't he?
He's an old fat grandpa man.
Our parents were the greatest generation. Our dads went overseas to fight a war. As soon as they came back, they grabbed our moms and hit the sack, and there they stayed from 1946 to 64, making babies.
Lots of babies.
The baby boomers.
76 million.
And we grew older, but we're not dead yet.
Hail to the king, baby.